So today we will study the link between openness, intellect, and mental disorders. The fifth major dimension of psychopathology, psychoticism, has been the most difficult to integrate within the Big Five model. What is psychoticism? Psychoticism reflects deficits in reality testing, that is, the tendency to make errors in interpreting the facets of the world. Hallucination and complex delusions are the extreme forms of these errors, but they simply represent extremes of a common phenomenon in human life called apophenia, that is, the distinction of meaningful patterns where none in fact exists. Apophenia is equivalent to making type 1 errors, that is, false positives in perceptions and beliefs. Everyday examples include seeing faces in inanimate objects, mistakenly hearing one's name, and holding superstitious beliefs such as astrology. Studies have demonstrated that the tendency towards apophenia is associated with the openness aspect of the openness-intellect dimension, but negatively related to the intellect aspect. The cybernetic Big Five theory posits that openness-intellect reflects the capacity for cognitive exploration, whereas intellect reflects the ability to interpret the causal and logical structure of the world through reasoning. Openness reflects the ability to interpret the correlation structure of the world through perception and imagination, which is simulation of perception. CB5T posits that psychoticism stems primarily from high openness, but is exacerbated due to the absence of sufficient intellectual capacity to weed out type 1 errors in the multifarious patterns that are detected by highly open people. Psychoticism or apophenia can be considered openness to highly implausible patterns. This form of openness is especially likely in conjunction with low level of cognitive abilities. This form of openness is linked to low intelligence and low working memory capacity that is associated with intellect and that are reduced in the disorganized symptoms of thought disorder. Indeed, to be a facet of intellect and we suggest that cognitive disorganizations, in as much as it is distinct from psychoticism, may be akin to intellectual disability and considered a disorder of intellect. Both psychosis and openness have been linked to dopamine. CB5T hypothesizes that openness and psychoticism are related to increased activity in a branch of the dopaminergic system distinct from that of extraversion. Extraversion is linked to dopaminergic neurons that encode value. Another set of dopaminergic neurons appears to encode salience. These neurons appear to facilitate cognitive exploration. Functional connectivity analysis of fMRI data has provided evidence that openness predicts synchronized activity between dopaminergic neurons in the midbrain and the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex during pleasant sensory experience at rest. The process of appearance salience may help to explain why people high in openness are at risk of psychosis and are prone to detecting patterns erroneously. Dopamine signals that valuable information is present even when that is highly unlikely.